Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's 1:01 on Monday, June 5th, and this is the beginning of the regular afternoon council meeting. Can I get, first of all, do we have any late items? No? Okay, can I get an approval of this afternoon's agenda? Councillor Peak, Councillor Patton, all in favor? Great, and I'll just quickly note that I am chairing today's meeting because our mayor has lost his voice. So he is here and he's eating candies to help himself, but I will be chairing the meeting. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, number 4. Is there anything that anybody would like to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing none, okay, can somebody, or do we need to bring that forward? Yeah, can somebody bring forward the consent agenda? Okay, Councillor Van Elfen, Councillor Betts, all in favor. Great, thank you. We don't have any delegations today. Public comment. No one speaking today? Okay, moving on to business items. So 7.1 RCMP Q1 update. And we have Sergeant Preston from the Summerland RCMP with us. Go ahead.
All right, thank you to the mayor and councillors. Our resources update for our detachment is currently there's 7 members that are operational. There's 1 member that is on light duties and 1 member who is on her maternity leave. We got 1 member, well-deserving promotion, going to Whistler detachment in the first week in July. But at the same time, we're getting a replacement from Squamish. So she's going to be here July 3rd, I believe. So we'll be back to those same numbers, 7, 1, and 1. For the quarter, we had 600 calls for service. That was down 6% from the same period last year. Our top 3 calls for service still continue to be traffic related, check well-being and false alarms. Property crime, a breakdown of our statistics. Property crime, we experienced an overall reduction of 26%. Of note, though, we did experience an increase of theft from motor vehicles. So during that time, January, February, March, a lot of the detachments in the surrounding areas experienced a high number of catalytic converters being stolen from their vehicles. And that was 15 files of the 19 that we had theft from motor vehicles. So 15 of those were catalytic converters. Analysts in the Penticton region, Okanagan South, did a breakdown, and they believe that the person or persons responsible for that were out-of-towners, and they've done their crime and have now left. So those numbers are expected to drop. Violent crime overall, we had a 35% increase. Domestic related files, we saw 7 files versus 4. 2 incidents, they were the same individuals. 2 reports were forwarded to Crown, however, the charges weren't approved. And 3 files that we continue to just maintain within our violence and relationship investigations. Common assaults, 67% increase. There's no stranger assaults. 5 were duplicate of that, of the domestic that I just spoke about. And the other assaults are they're people known to each other, like 4 family incidents, and 1 where there was just a friend. And then uttering threats, we had 13 files compared to 6 the same time last year. And again, those 7 incidents, they're known to each other. 3 of those were neighborhood disputes, and 1 was actually a threat made to one of our officers. And that's all I really have. So just to sum it up, property crime, we saw a decrease 26%, and violent crime was a 35% increase. Any questions?
Councillor Peak.
I actually don't have this report in front of me, but my question would be number of cases for each of your members. How are things going for your detachment?
Our detachment is a little short. We're managing. We're definitely in better shape than surrounding detachments. Like I say, we are down 2 members. But as most of you know, we've pretty much, I don't think, we can't remember the last time we ran at a full 100%. So anything else?
Council, any other questions for Sergeant Preston? No. We're heading into the summer months. Do you anticipate any issues coming up? Are you making any adjustments to policing at all?
Well, we just had Action Fest, and obviously we work close with the senior management team, and they bring us up to date with all the events that are coming up. And for this past weekend, I upped the members by there was an extra 2 additional members working, and had another reservist come and work and then also traffic section that we just basically just let them know of events that are taking place here, and if they could come spend some extra time in Summerland, that's always greatly appreciated. So
yeah, the increased visibility, I think, definitely helps. Councillor Peak, go ahead.
Do you do a campaign for the summer of lock your vehicles, that kind of thing? Is it something that you need to reinforce, or?
We had that planned when we had the citizens on patrol, but then since that they no longer are around, we do have like these little cards that we have if we had time. Last year we had, I can't remember what we called it, but it was like Slurpee coupons and that we'll give out to kids and that sort of thing. We did get some community policing brochures that we are planning to work with the fire department, and and when we have other events, the 2 of us, we can be handing out these brochures. So it's geared to middle school and also the younger. So kind of two pamphlets. So Constable March will be leading that up.
Good. Okay. Just one quick comment before we move on. We now have drinking is allowed on our public beaches. And so it'll be interesting to see if there are any issues or if there aren't any issues. I guess people would call the police, CAO stat, is that right, if they saw an issue, or would they report that to bylaw?
It would depend on the situation and what they're seeing, and go either way on that.
And we work really closely with bylaws. So we just had a detachment meeting 2 weeks ago, and we had bylaws come and just know all the members, and they're there to help us, and we're there to help them. So it's a good working relationship there.
Great. Okay. Well, seeing no other questions then, can I get a motion to receive the Q1 update for information? Councillor Van Elfen, Councillor Peak, all in favor? Great, carried. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to 7.2, the 2022 Statement of Financial Information Report. David, you're taking that one?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So municipalities, we are required to prepare a statement of financial information. So we call them SOFIs on an annual basis. The SOFI discloses detailed information that is not regularly found in the district's audited financial statement. So this information includes a schedule of severance agreements, a schedule of remuneration and expenses for employees whose gross salaries are over $75,000, and a schedule of suppliers of goods and services. Now, in total, the district expended $48.9 million in 2022, with taxable remuneration accounting for $8.82 million. 8 additional employees have been added to the over 75,000 list, bringing the district's total to 53. With council's approval, the 2022 SOFI will be submitted to the ministry prior to June 30th, which is the deadline in submitting these documents. And that concludes my report.
Hey, council, any questions? David, have you heard at all whether the province is going to lift that $75,000? No, they're going to, just with inflation, you'd think that would start to come higher, but that's okay. All right, can somebody please bring this forward? Okay, Counselor Van Elfen. Counselor Peak. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Great, carried. Hey, thanks, Dave. Okay. Moving on to 7.3, Council Procedure Bylaw Amendment 2023-017, Administrative Updates. Kendra, you're taking this one?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So at the January 23rd, 2023 Committee of the Whole meeting, Council provided direction to staff regarding amendments to the Council Procedure Bylaw. Before Council are the proposed amendments to the bylaw, including updating the items included in the consent agenda, which is the removal of the bylaws for adoption section heading from the consent agenda to be a standalone section with a separate formal resolution when bylaws are considered for adoption. There includes guidance to the appointment of the deputy mayor following the inaugural meeting at the discretion of the mayor. The proposed amendments include a written procedure for a notice of motion. There's an administrative and format update to remove the bullets in the bylaw and update with proper section identifiers such as Roman numerals. And then there are the additional staff recommended amendments, which include amending the committee meeting minute taking practice to remove the requirement of the corporate officer certifying the minutes from council committee meetings, and would require the appointed recording secretary of the specific committee, which is usually a staff member, to certify the minutes, as the corporate officer does not attend council committee meetings unless required. There's the removal of the redundant term advisory committees to align with council committees and the taxonomy in the community charter. Advisory committees and task force are often alternate titles given to select committees. And lastly, there's the proposed amendment to move council meetings from Mondays to Tuesdays, continuing on the three-week rotation when meetings taking place at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. And this amendment is to coincide with the 18-month trial of the compressed work week at Municipal Hall, with the Municipal Hall closure on Mondays. And the meeting change is proposed to take place beginning Tuesday, July 18th. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like our corporate officer to put on record that I do feel that for staff retention and work-life balance, that there are other means that we could look at instead of the 4-day compressed work week. I still feel that it's a bit of a disservice to our citizens. And I know I'm a broken record because I've said this on 3 or 4 different occasions already, but I will not, I can't support a 4-day work week for 18 months. So just as long as it's on record that I disagree with this. Thanks.
Okay, Mayor Holmes.
I don't think we could, with respect, Councillor Patton, I don't think we can lump our citizens as one group. Sure, it might inconvenience some people who would want to come to City Hall on Mondays, but I think it'll create a much greater convenience for a whole lot more citizens who will be able to get there earlier in the morning to get their permits, or who will be able to get there later in the day after work to get their business done. So I think I don't see it as an inconvenience. It's a shift, and I think it'll create greater convenience for more people than it'll inconvenience others. Okay.
Kendra, when will that start? I'm sorry if I missed it in here.
To the deputy mayor, the 4-day work week. So it will begin on July 2nd.
Okay, does anybody else have anything they'd like to add to this? Okay, seeing none, does somebody want to bring forward the motion as presented? Okay, Councillor Betts, Councillor Peak. Any further discussion? Last chance? Nope. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Councillor Patton. That carries. Okay, moving on to 7.4, Accessible British Columbia Act, participating in a joint regional accessibility committee. And that's Kendra as well.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So the Accessible British Columbia Act received royal assent in June 2021, and in April 2022, the Accessible British Columbia regulation was implemented to provide clarity on the types of organizations subject to the accessibility requirements under the Act. So the Act requires local governments to establish an accessibility committee by September 1st, 2023. And the purpose of this committee is to assist with the identification of barriers to individuals within or interacting with the local government, as well as provide advice regarding the removal and prevention of barriers to individuals, again, within or interacting with the local government. The committee must be comprised of individuals from diverse backgrounds, including Indigenous people, no less than half of whom must be either persons with disabilities or persons representing a disability serving organization. At this time, council direction is being sought regarding the participation in the development of a joint regional committee with the Regional District of Okanagan-Similkameen in the creation of a regional accessibility committee to fulfill the new requirements under the Act and to further reduce the barriers to access and promote equal participation with respect to public services and employment for individuals with disabilities. And should council wish to participate at the regional level, staff will report back to council on the details of the committee once developed. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No? Okay, quiet today. Would somebody like to bring this forward? Oh, Councillor Van Elfen. Okay, sorry, I didn't see you there. Do we have a seconder? Mayor Holmes. Okay, any further discussion? Good discussion. Seeing none. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you. Okay, we had nothing removed from the consent agenda. Oh, sorry. Is that where, oh no, we're bylaws for adoption. 8.1, road closure and removal of highway dedication for the solar and storage site. Bylaw number 2023-14. Kendra, that's yours as well.
Yeah, so bylaw number 2023-14 received its first 3 readings at the April 24th, 2023 regular meeting of council. Since then, notice has been published in the Summerland Review in accordance with the community charter. And as it is a road closure bylaw, any person who feels they're interested may be affected by the road closure may make representations to council. To date, no correspondence or inquiries to appear before council have been received. So this bylaw can now be considered for adoption.
Okay, great. Thank you. Does somebody want to bring this forward? Councillor Betts, Councillor Van Elfen, any discussion on this? It's just for adoption. Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Great, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, now we have public comment. Don't see anybody here. All right, so I guess we go into close now. So can I get a motion to close this meeting to the public? Councillor Van Elfen, Councillor Betts, all in favor? Great.